All right, everyone, we are here with a special guest. We are joined by Adam DeVine, here to talk about his new movie, The Outlaws, on Netflix. Thank you so much for joining us.
Ladies, thanks for having me.
We're so excited.
Good to be here. I love doing interviews in my living room. It's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. I wish we did interviews in our living room. No, it's so nice for you guys. We love to have people in real life, you know? It's just so much better.
I'm lying.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer to be in real life because everything's so loud at my house. My wife can't help. She's currently doing dishes. She can't help.
She can't stop herself.
I just said, I was like, hey, honey, I'm going to be doing a podcast any minute. And she's like, it won't take long.
Yeah. Well, big fan of her too. So tell her we said hi.
Yeah.
That's
the chicks say hi, Chloe.
Yeah. That's funny. No, we've had our moments when we were like fully remote recording this show. We would get so frustrated. We'd be like, Mom, we just told you that we're recording. Why is the vacuum on? I feel like they would do things on purpose. I'm like, you know that this isn't funny, right? Like,
they're testing bits out on you guys.
Yeah, 100%. How often do people mess up your last name?
Weirdly, kind of often. They want it to be DeVine so bad, and I don't know why. They just really want it to be DeVine.
Yeah.
I think it's Adam Levine is, obviously super hunky famous guy, and they just assume. I think what it is DeVine is like a pretty cool last name, and they look at me and they're like, he doesn't deserve that.
When our producer before he said it's DeVine, and I said no, it's DeVine, and I said Adam DeVine is just his evil twin.
Yeah, he really is. He's my evil twin for sure.
When you went on Call Her Daddy and she put out the promo where it was like, it was when everything with Adam Levine was happening. Were you we got? Yeah. Were you like a little pissed because you were like, damn, now everyone's gonna be hyped up that it's Adam Levine?
I mean,
and they get me, which is still great. But at the time, everyone's like, oh my God, she has Adam Levine.
I didn't even think about it at all until the immediate backlash when people were like, fuck this guy. This isn't Adam Levine. We hate him. I had a joke that I used to do in my stand-up where I would say, like, because, you're doing a theater and there's 2,500 people there. I would always say that there's always at least one person in the audience that just read the poster wrong and thought they were going to see Adam Levine perform a solo show and was so disappointed when they saw me. They're like, did he shrink 11 inches and gain 40 pounds? He looks horrible.
That is so funny. Oh man. But I remember that we saw that trailer. We totally, she got us. And we talked about on the podcast, we were like, Adam DeVine is great. Like, I hope that people don't give him shit for not being Adam Levine. I know. But thank you for joining us. You have this new movie coming out. We actually just had Nina in studio, which was awesome. She's a delight. Mm-hmm. So our listeners kind of got the rundown of what the movie is from her. And, I'm sure if you haven't listened to that yet, you can listen to it because by the time this comes out, our Nina episode will be out. So please, you can listen to that as well. But Adam, what is your role in this movie? And tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I play Noah, and I am... No, I don't play Noah. That's a different movie that I've done. I just talked about a movie I did like 5 years ago. I play Owen.
What movie were you talking about?
I did a movie called When We First Met with me and Alexander Daddario.
Yes.
Owen and Noah, those are kind of the same names, though.
Yeah, the same sure. They're one and the same. They go together. Totally.
So I play Owen. I'm like this straight-laced bank manager, and I'm marrying this like girl who's, kind of out of my league, super cool, and I haven't met her parents yet. And they're sort of mysterious. There's no photos of them. They come into town. They're the coolest people. It's Pierce Brosnan, freaking James Bond. Yeah. and Ellen Barkin, and they're just the two coolest people. And they take me out, they get me drunk, we go skydiving, I get a tattoo of Shrek, and because I'm cool like that. And then the next day I show up to work and I'm talking to my coworker, Lil Rel, and I'm like, my in-laws are so damn cool. I'm hungover, which is rare for me. I just need a nice chill day in the office. Click, click, there's a gun to my head and two people are robbing my bank. And they say something that leads me to believe that the people who are robbing me are my in-laws. So that's kind of the general setup. And it's a crazy movie. They really let us kind of get wild with it. And at first you're watching it and you're like, this is like a cute little rom-com. Look at Nina and Adam doing their little rom-com thing. And then it takes like a hard left and it's like a full-blown action movie.
Yeah.
So
you describing it, I love the premise, and I feel like I have seen the intro to the movie now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so fun. I mean, the writers, they pitched me this idea like I want to say like 6 years ago or something. It was like right at the tail end of me doing Workaholics, and they came in the Workaholics offices and they pitched me the idea, and I was like, that's a genius idea. We have to make this movie. And then I wrote it in a notebook and forgot about it immediately and didn't find it until like a few years ago, and was looking through an old notebook, and I hit them up. I'm like, did you guys ever do anything with this? And they hadn't. And so we sold it to Netflix, and then we brought it to Adam Sandler's company, and away we go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you had a lot of involvement with getting the movie actually made.
Yeah. I'm a producer on the movie, and it's pretty fun to see it from the initial kernel of an idea to working with the writers, and and working through the whole production process and then the post-production process.
Pierce Brosnan is one of those guys that I think I would just run in the other direction, like if I saw him in real life, just because it's James Bond. And I know you're so excited, and we've joked because I think Pierce Brosnan, I think James Bond, and Rhea thinks Mamma Mia.
I see him as Mamma Mia.
So she's like, oh well, who cares? Go right up to him. It's the dad from Mamma Mia.
I think of him as Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
The guy that
Yes.
Fields,
Right. Yes, the boyfriend coming in. Yeah. But what was your first interaction with Pierce Brosnan like?
Well, he's like super cool. Like you think I kind of was like the same way of like, it's James Bond. Maybe he's a dick. I don't know.
He's British.
He's Irish.
Oh, he's Irish.
Yeah, that makes him a little cooler.
That does. I didn't realize he was Irish.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, because I guess obviously he plays Bond, who's not Irish, but
that's right.
Yep.
But he's just like a really cool, down to earth. I mean, it's crazy to be down to earth when like he's like a damn near billionaire. I mean, he lives in a world that I only like peek in, and I go, they won't allow me in. He had an art show, and so me and Nina were like, we got to go to his art show, right? Support our co-star, and we show up. It was the craziest thing I've ever been to. Like, there was people with ascots, like just wearing ascots. Like, there was a guy with a monocle, and I'm not
seriously.
Yes,
like not ironically, real life.
Not ironically.
Wasn't a costume party.
Yeah, it was wild. So, but he is like truly a down to earth cool guy.
That is so awesome. You've gotten to work with a lot of cool people, and you just mentioned how you're a producer on this film. What's the transition like as an actor? You start off, you're auditioning for things. You kind of will like, I don't know for you, but you take what is offered to you when you audition for them, but now you get to make things. Like, you get to make things happen. Did you ever see that happening for yourself, and what does it feel like?
Yeah, for me, I didn't even have I didn't have like a big agent until I sold Workaholics. So for me, it was different because I always was a producer and a creator from like my first big break. Mm-hmm. So I didn't go like through the whole audition process, and still to this day, I don't really do that many auditions. So I've been very fortunate that I've always kind of had a hand in the creation of stuff.
Which is
so it's pretty incredible. The fact that I'm allowed to do what I do is I'm still waiting for someone to go like, how did you get in here? Can I see your ticket? Yeah.
Can I check your ID?
You have the Hollywood pass because you shouldn't be allowed in this area.
What are the biggest roles that, I know you said you are so lucky you get to work with and make so much stuff, but do you recall some of your bigger audition moments that you were like, oh, am I supposed to be doing this?
No, they don't even really allow me to audition for the.
That
like,
can't be true.
No, we're not gonna.
You weren't up for the new Bond?
No, they're not. They didn't. I'm not on that short list, believe it or not. Yeah, a short, furry, funny guy from the Midwest isn't on the short list for James Bond. But no, I mean, I guess I auditioned for Nancy Myers, and I was in the movie The Intern with Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
and that was really cool.
She's a big dog.
Dumb. Yeah, he's a big deal. Yeah. But I'm so dumb that I knew Nancy Myers was like a big deal, and she makes a lot of big rom-coms, but I didn't know enough to be intimidated by that. And I think that's probably why I got cast, just because I was busy doing my own thing. I had a stand-up show called House Party that I did on Comedy Central for a while. Mm-hmm. And so I was like kind of in the midst of that, in between shooting Pitch Perfect 2 and this movie, The Final Girls, that I did with Nina and where I met my wife. So I think I was just too busy to be intimidated, which is a good thing to be. Just be too busy with your bullshit. So when you meet actual important people, you're like, hey, what's up? Nice to meet you.
Yeah. And then they're impressed with you because they're like, oh.
Yeah. They're like, he didn't shit his pants when he met me.
Yeah.
This guy's good. Really, I'm just too dumb to know better.
Oh my!
And you've been fortunate enough to have such amazing co-stars. You just mentioned a couple of them. You even mentioned Alexander Daddario because you thought you were talking about another movie. Who's somebody that you really want to work with again? That it may have only been one time, but you just like loved your experience with them.
I mean, I'm honestly Nina, and I know I'm like promoting this movie, so you guys like bullshit.
Yeah. Sure.
Outlaws 2.
All right. She's just such a pleasure. Like, we're friends off screen, which really helps. But I've been really fortunate to work with like some really amazing women that we just get along really well. And you know, I would love it if me and Nina become like a Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore, or Jen Aniston, or you know, if we're lucky enough to have careers even close to that.
Do you have a choice between Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston? Because I know that's a debate with people.
I mean, no, they both work very well.
Yeah. That's so many great movies between the two of them.
Yeah, definitely.
They really do.
Righteous Gemstones is the new season is also out right now, and this is truly one of my favorite shows that's on TV right now. I don't think it's really discussed enough how funny it is and how funny the group is together. It is some of the funniest people.
Really is.
In a room. What's it like making that show? I have to imagine it's kind of chaotic.
It's so fun. Like, Danny McBride is sort of a comedy hero of mine. So when I was offered the role, he didn't make me audition, which was very cool of him, but he was like, we didn't really know each other. So he asked me to come to Charleston, South Carolina, where he lives and where we shoot the show. And he's like, just come and have dinner and let's see if we click. And I went and I like walk in this empty room and no one's there. Danny hops out from behind a bush and was like, scared you, fucker. And I'm like, I'm in, whatever show this is. I want to do it with this guy. Yeah, I mean, he's a legend. And John Goodman, who's become like it's weird to be like, I could just call John Goodman. Not whether he would answer, who knows? He might dodge this call. But like, it's crazy to know that like I can get in contact with with America's father, John Goodman, you know?
It's such an unbelievable cast. And I remember watching the first season, you know, you're like, where is this show going?
Yeah,
it's
hilarious.
hilarious.
You're like, wait, what is this?
You're like, this show is very funny, but what am I watching? And then the season finale hits and you're like, I am locked into this show for whatever else they give me. When you were reading the script for the first time, were you like, where is this going?
Yeah, well, Danny does such a good job of like, it's so outlandish and crazy, but then it feels weirdly grounded, and you believe the characters, and then also it's like dark and kind of scary at points where you're like, am I supposed to feel these emotions watching this silly comedy?
Yeah.
So and to your point, like people weren't like, it wasn't catching on in the way that we had hoped. This season actually is the season that I feel everyone's comeback has caught up to it finally. It took a few seasons, and COVID kind of messed us up because it sort of extended the period between season 1 and 2 so long that I think this season is the season people have caught back up. And I just read a thing the other day that this is Danny's biggest show, bigger than Eastbound and Down, bigger than Vice Principals. And this now is his biggest show, which is pretty cool.
That is awesome. And
so cool.
It is so funny. I know. I remember the last season I was cracking up because Joe Jonas had a cameo guest role kind of. And I was like, wow, this Camp Rock 2 Righteous Gemstones moment is really coming full circle. Did you guys laugh about that when you were doing it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Chloe was she had a small part in that season. So yeah, it was pretty funny to have us all together like that.
I loved that. That was great. What is your personal input for Kelvin? Like, do you get to really throw a lot of stuff into that character yourself?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Danny, they write a great script, and then we get that, which is how I like to work too. You like to work off something that's already great. So that's your net where you're like, we know that if we just get this, it'll be very good. And then he just lets us rip, and you're like, okay, we did 2 or 3 takes and we got how we want it to be. And now we could just have fun with it, and we improv and get weird and wild with it. And Edie Patterson, who plays our sister, she's such a champ too.
So
and she's so funny in the show. And it's a really, really stacked cast. So it's very easy to improv and go off the cuff with these people.
Yeah.
It's really one of the best shows
go to like
on
some
TV
weird
right now.
places in like improv with this group of people where like you finish a scene and you are like, how did we get here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Like
you're like, we can't use that.
They're like that got very graphic very quickly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
What's it like filming in Charleston? I mean, that's got to be pretty cool.
Have you ever been to Charleston?
Yeah, I just went for the first time recently, and
I'm so jealous. I really want to go there.
Was like obsessed. My classic went on a bachelorette trip, but we had a blast, and all my girlfriends were like, "Do we move to Charleston? This is amazing."
I know it's like just truly one of the prettiest places. The people are beautiful. Everyone's super nice. And the food is fantastic. Yeah. It was like, I feel when we first started the show, it was still like a little undiscovered gem. And then now I feel like a local, since it takes like half a year to shoot that show. Wow. So we're there quite a bit.
Right.
And so now I'm like, get out of here, tourists. You're ruining it for us. Because it is a very special city for sure.
Yeah.
Do you live in California?
Yeah. My house is in California, but we for the last 2 years, I got back around Christmas time, so I've been here since then. But before that, we were home a total of like, I think 6 weeks in a little over 2 years. So just like the nomad actor lifestyle, where nothing shoots in LA and you're just always out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you.
It's nice to be in a place like Charleston.
Yeah, right. Would you ever leave LA? But it seems like if you're traveling so much, why leave when you have a place to come home to?
Yeah, well, I just have a place to store all my stuff.
Exactly.
Back when I actually lived here. Yeah, it's weird because it's weird when you're gone that much and you come home and you like look at your closet and you're like, I remember Chloe was bringing me. She gets to come home more often, and she was like packing a suitcase and she was like, "Hey, do you want any stuff from your closet?" And she's showing me all my stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, dang! Oh, I like that jacket. Ooh, snag me that." And me like, "I like all these clothes," and she's like, "You should. This is your closet. These are all your things."
It's all new stuff to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. If you haven't worn it in like a year, you're like, "Damn, look at me go. Okay, boy."
Yeah.
Like, I bought that? You're shocked by yourself.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, get those grandmother crocheted shirts that are all the rage.
Yes. We get that only, New York City apartment living where it's like you can't physically fit all your clothes in your closet. So when you change from winter to summer, you pull out all your summer clothes and you're like, whoa, I forgot these clothes are awesome.
You change.
Yeah, you're
winter.
like, okay, Miss Thing.
Yeah.
You store your winter to summer.
You know how many sweaters I own? I gotta put those there are too many. I
Do
put
you
them
have like a storage unit that you
No,
go to?
I just have like a front hall closet with a top shelf that I put them in the big packing cubes and I leave them up there until May comes around and then bring them back, switch it out.
We had a storage unit in Charleston that I was like, this way we don't have to like bring a ton of stuff back because you end up collecting a lot of stuff if you're somewhere for like 6 months. So we got this storage unit and then we left and came back, 6 months later, and I opened it up. Everything was devoured.
Ooh,
rats ate things. We had a Peloton bike. It no longer was there. It was just like a shell of a Peloton bike. Like the rats ate the bicycle. It was crazy.
That can't be healthy for them.
So that's how the rats have taken over.
Yeah.
Because now
that's right. Yeah. So don't go to Charleston. Yeah. They have just mutant giant Ninja Turtle size rats.
Yeah, specifically Peloton rats.
That is
they can cycle.
Disgusting.
Well,
I'm glad everyone got to hear about our storage.
I know. Well, you said you've only been home, a very small amount of time, but you told this story and it kind of made some headlines, and I would love some more context of it because it was like the headlines were like, Adam DeVine witnesses murder down the streets.
Dude, so I didn't witness the murder, but there was a murder like right across the street from my house.
Yes.
They have this like big poker game, or they used to. He stopped doing it, but it was
Post-murder.
Crazy. I think it was like a Molly's. Remember the movie Molly's Game?
One of my favorite movies.
Hills. Yeah,
with Jessica Chastain. Yeah,
that is essentially what I think is happening. It's like a new neighbor that's moved in. Haven't met them yet. But it's like Rolls Royces pulling up, Bugattis, Lamborghinis, and then like rich looking 50-year-old men are going inside.
Leonardo DiCaprio steps out.
yeah, for sure. But Leo wasn't there.
Yeah.
How you catch me.
Sorry. I'm just Molly's Game is based
Adam
off of that.
And so you see these guys going in, and so like for several weeks, Chloe and I would see this happening, and we're like, oh, that's crazy that, I'm sure there's like tons of money being exchanged in there. And then we were not in our Hollywood house. We have a house down at the beach. And so we're down at the beach, and I woke up the next morning to like 30 text messages and a bunch of calls because the guy that was murdered is my same age. So it just says the age of the man, and then it was murdered in the Hollywood Hills. And then the photo that was passed around is like basically of my house. So I had like friends reaching out being like, are you dead? So then that night I had a podcast. I have a podcast with me and the Workaholics guys called This Is Important. And we had like a live show, our first ever live show. And I'm all hopped up. And that had happened earlier that morning. So I'm all hopped up and I'm trying to tell this story, but it's a live show. So like people are yelling stuff and the guys are kind of weird about me talking about murder. And so I like kind of fucked up telling the story a little bit. And it sounded like maybe I did witness it.
Right.
But if you really listen to it, I didn't witness it. But that, of course, is what the news ran with, like Adam DeVine witnesses murder.
Yeah, that is not
the truth.
The headline itself, and of course you got more context when you read the rest, but the headline itself made it seem like you had like a peering through the curtains across the street, ducking. And like there's just murder happened.
Yeah, but it is crazy. It's scary when it's that close to your house.
I mean, that's frightening regardless. I know we're laughing about it, but that is still pretty scary.
Yeah, it's very scary.
I would like to hope that maybe the poker games have ended since then.
It's looking like they have ended. Yes,
they're slowing it down.
That's where they have to draw. They got to draw the line somewhere,
or a new house.
Now it's just backgammon and craps over there.
Keeping it casual, pickleball.
Yeah,
good. That's just like has the making of a new like documentary that's like Molly's Game-esque, but ends with somebody maybe not paying up, and look what happened.
Unfortunately, happened in real life, but would be a good movie.
We know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Adam could write it because he witnessed it.
I'll produce it.
There you go.
I'll write it.
That actually, would make for a good movie.
Yeah.
The neighbor across the street sees a crazy murder. You would have to I think the person would have to see the murder at this point to make the movie.
We'll take some liberties.
Some
inspiration from your live show story.
How did you like doing the live shows with the guys for Workaholics, the pod?
It was so damn fun.
Yeah.
I'm like, after we did it, we got a bunch of offers to do more shows. And I think we're going to do some of them because it's just cool to like see the fans. Like, I'm sure you guys deal with this. It's like when you're doing a podcast, see, I'm used to doing stand up and you're used to being on stage. You see the audience, you get that immediate, like this worked, this didn't work. And it was just so fun to kind of get back to that. Cause when you are just talking on a podcast, sometimes I almost forget that there's listeners and I'm just like talking with my friends and then I'll like be at a valet and it's always the valet guys. I feel like every valet guy in this whole damn country listens to This Is Important. And they're always like, TII Nation, bro. And I'm like, you listen to it? Oh God, you know so much about me. But it was a ton of fun. Have you guys ever done that?
Yeah, we just finished our live show tour. We've done a couple of them. We absolutely love it. Like you said, you talk a lot on a podcast, and it kind of just goes into the abyss. But then when you're on stage and you're right, you see what works and what doesn't, and there's like nothing better. I mean, because you are actually a comedian. We are not comedians, but the bonus is getting people to laugh, right? Because they come for a live show podcast. But when we make them laugh, I'm like, oh my God, we're kind of funny. Like, you get the reaction.
We started in a different order, so it's like just solely doing podcasts for so long. And then being like, people like this. And then when you see it in real life, the reaction is very cool. We actually have Charleston circled for a potential stop. We want to do some more shows in the fall. And after I came back from Charleston, I said to her, I was like, we gotta go. We gotta do a show in Charleston.
And then we should just stay the weekend.
First of all, you girls would crush in Charleston. There would be like 5,000 bridesmaids there.
Exactly.
We've had a couple of bridal parties at our shows.
And believe me, I'm telling you, like, the culture in Charleston is so funny. When we would walk into bars, there's 3 other bachelorette parties. We're like posting up. We're like, what are you guys doing here? Like, oh, look at you. We're not in dumb matching outfits. You guys are in matching outfits. So
how's
they
the
would
big
all show up.
straws?
Yeah, exactly. They would definitely show up. But that would be cool.
So you guys are going to do more of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we literally just talked about it yesterday. So it was just 2 weeks ago that we had the live shows, and then now like we're getting a bunch of offers to do more shows. So it was something that we were like, let's dip our toes in. I'm the only stand-up of the guys, so I was the only one that was really like, no, we should do it. It would be the most fun. And they all have like families and stuff. So they're like, I don't know if I want to leave my kids. And I'm like, leave your children. Come on tour.
It's a perfect excuse.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the perfect excuse.
I'm putting you on the spot here, but did you see the Smartless HBO documentary with Jason Bateman, their podcast? They went on, they did a live tour.
Absolutely. It was awesome.
It was so cool and so funny. And I feel like you guys can totally do something like that too. 100%. Like a documentary around you guys doing live shows.
Yeah.
Because you guys are all hilarious.
Ours would be way more debaucherous.
Yeah.
Sure. Like ours wouldn't be, I feel like Max wouldn't release it. It's not classy. Like ours wouldn't be as classy enough.
But that's exactly what we need.
Yeah, certainly YouTube would go, come on in.
It certainly wouldn't be in black and white.
No.
No.
Oh man. Adam, thank you so much for hopping on and talking with us.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can make it work. You can come into the studio next time. I know you've done a few shows now over at Barstool, and everybody would love to have you back in studio. So next time you're in New York, we should make that work. Everyone, make sure you stream The Outlaws on Netflix July 7th. Super exciting. It's a great way to dip your toe after like a long. We're on that 4th of July break when after you've been partying too much and you need to sit down and watch a movie. Mm-hmm. Here you go.
Yeah, they were at first when Netflix was like, we're giving you the big weekend, July 7th. And I'm like, that's a shitty weekend. Why are you giving me the shittiest weekend? I'm like, everyone's going to be raging from the 4th. But then really thinking about it, I'm like, it's a few days after the 4th.
Exactly.
People are going to be like, give me a damn break.
Exactly.
I just want to, I'll still be drunk, but I want to be on a couch and be drunk.
They're going to be tired watching a movie being drunk.
Yes, exactly. I'll be tired, drunk on a couch watching the movie.
Perfect. So. That's what everyone's going to be doing July 7th for The Outlaws.
Thank you so much for joining us, Adam.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice meeting you.
See ya.
Bye.